for this part of the painting, what you're going to do is block in your values. So I have a rag nearby, and I've already started to do this a little bit with the white. What you can do also is put a little bit of Turpenoid, which is going to be in here for cleaning your brush, but I put a little bit in the cap so I can thin out my paints. Add a little bit of the Turpenoid to the black. And what I would do is I would work from lightest to darkest. So I'm just finding here where there's black and I'm putting that in with a little bit of the Turpenoid. You don't need a lot. You don't want it to look brushy like that. You want it to look pretty flat. And then the next step, you can see where I've done the whites and I've done the blacks. I really want you to think about this in 3 stages for this painting. The first stage is to do this step with the whites, with the blacks. I'm not going to show too much here because I want you to be able to decide on your own what's going to be white and what's going to be black, or if you decide something should actually be dark gray, looking at our 9-step value scale here. We've done the hard work already. We've already mixed these out. But think about this in 3 phases, like I mentioned. The first phase, figuring out where the whites and the blacks go. Kind of leaving them in the sections where you've kind of drawn this out. The second step is to do the values. And I would work from light to dark. So go figure out where all your 2s are. Paint those fairly thinly with a little bit of Turpenoid on each one of as you go. And go from light to dark. Because as you clean out your brush, if you went from black to white, look at what's going to happen if you try to mix this and you go from this to this, look at what it does to the color. So it makes it dark really, really quick. So instead, work from light to dark. The second step, what you're going to do is you're going to get all of that blocked in pretty much everywhere. Then you're going to start to let this dry. And that's probably going to take you a couple sessions. I wouldn't try to do that all in one session where you find out, you know, this is my 1s, here's my 2s and my 3s. Then my 4s, you know, 5s and 6s, 7s and 8s, 9s here. Then you're going to let that start to dry. The third step will be to add the details. And I'll do a time lapse with this so you can kind of see. You don't want your paint super thin so it's going to dry like this or drip like this. You want it kind of more like a solid like this, but you're just putting a little bit. And it doesn't have to be super neat because we're going to go back over it, but I'm kind of giving myself a little bit of where this is going to be to plug in my values. Now the third step will be to do your details over top of it. So this should be fairly thin and putting the painting everywhere. I know a lot of the paint everywhere for the painting. So the third step will be to do the details. So first step, just white and black. That gives you a basis, a value structure of where things, kind of a reference point, a resource of where things are going to go. Then the second step, once you finish putting where the whites and blacks go, then find all of your 2s, 3s, 4s, all the way up to your 8s. And then that'll take you a couple of sessions to do that. And then what you're going to do, and this should give you a lot of confidence, you'll see that you can very quickly make something look representational. This will stay open, it'll stay wet for a little while. And then the last stage will be to put the details over top of that. So I really want you to recognize that on these paintings, there's a little bit of a learning curve, but that should be a confidence builder for you. I mean, maybe if you get really good at painting and look back in a few years from now on this first painting and say, wow, that doesn't look all that well. But when you're done with this, I think it'll give you a lot of confidence where you're like, I didn't think that I could do that, right? And so in terms of a learning curve, each painting is an opportunity to learn, to grow, to get better. And so don't sweat it if at first it's kind of a struggle. I think the main thing about learning to paint with value is that this is the hard work here. You've done that. Now it's just a matter of plugging it in piece by piece. At first, we're just doing it kind of thin like this. Later, we're going to do the detail over top. I'll do a time lapse to kind of show you that process. Have fun with it. Get lost in the process. I think you'll enjoy it. Have fun with it. And we'll see where we go from there. When you're done with your brush, what you can do on the scour pad that's on the bottom, rinse out the brush. And if you go from one value to another, this is good enough. I mean, if you did this and then wipe it off on a paper towel, we could go to back to our white and it won't, you know, make that big gray mess right there. Try to avoid getting corrupting or contaminating your paint like that. But then if you're done for the day, what I would do is also do a more thorough clean and clean it out on your master brush cleaner. And then put your paints up for the day. The other thing is when you're done for the day, I will put saran wrap covering over top of this. So that way it'll stay open, it'll stay wet, because you've mixed a lot of values here. You don't want to have to keep doing that every day. So have fun painting. Peace out.